Hey guys, welcome to another round of the Daily Minute, live from AMT HQ, as you can see by the live action figures in the view behind me. So anyway, let me get to a couple international things that were going on and a little tech thing that I wanted to buy you. So first, starting with some of the things going on in Shanghai. Talking to the gang this morning, they were reviewing some things they're doing there on a smart manufacturing initiative that they have that they've just put forward, which is a plan by 2022 to have 100 column smart factories or unmanned business units that are set up. So they're focusing on AI, big data, blockchain, 5G, and kind of rolling these out in 8 different industrial sectors starting in the Shanghai area. And as they prove these out, really trying to then scale them across other parts of the country. So pretty ambitious. 2021, 2022, having 100 of these factories set up. So pretty impressive rollout of leveraging these new technologies implemented into specific factories for utilization. So, ones to watch there when they get focused on things. They're pretty good at executing within specific timelines. So new things going on there in Shanghai. Dialing over to Mexico, chatting a little bit with Carlos and the gang there, and some things are going on from the auto parts industry and manufacturing. And maybe you probably know this, or maybe you don't. The 1 in 3, parts that are mounted into automobiles are actually manufactured in Mexico. So for the North American market. And as we turn on the big 3 here in the U.S., part of the issue gets to be how do you match up synchronization with your main supply base for 1 in 3 of those components that's actually coming out of Mexico that's only running at about 30 to 40% capacity. So there's a lot of balancing issues going on right now. I take the big 3 kind of, scaling up. They're not quite up to full capacity, but they're probably running at, certainly trying to get above 50%, but you got BMW and Toyota running at nearly 100% capacity. That's not matching, again, the 30 to 50 that's going on coming out of Mexico. So some real supply chain juggling that's getting to be issues as everybody kind of goes through their different phases of coming out through Corona. So you'll be watching for those hiccups happening. If you were supplying in on that marketplace, those guys in the big 3 and their key supply chain folks then will be having some holdups as some of these parts aren't able to be kind of put through kind of support facilities coming out of Mexico. And then just another small, quick little point that I just find interesting as we look at some things that are happening. A lot of big pickup happening in the automation area and robotics specifically, and largely in low-cost robotics. So it's happening in a lot of cases in warehousing and factories for moving product around more than not. And obviously the COVID situation has accelerated that need, both from the standpoint of e-commerce acceleration, but also kind of spacing issues and bringing manpower back into the facilities. One of the things I find that's interesting about that to be watching is a lot of that focus is really on how you can really do things that are very simple to program robots. These aren't highly complex tasks. People need to get them set up really quickly. So the ability to kind of have rapidly learning robots, so things you can manipulate to learn or they're very simple to program, are what's really hitting the market demand right now. And you can see when then a factory needs to switch from making their standard product to making ventilators, making their standard product to making PPE, the ability to reprogram and reset up those robots quickly and simply is going to be paramount. So watch for a lot of building happening in the automation space on the easy to program methodologies with robotics specifically. So just a couple of things we talked about this morning with the gang around the world. Thought you might find some of those useful. As always, if there's questions about any of that or anything else, you know how to get a hold of us at AMT. Thanks. Have a great evening.